You think you know the 1959 Impala, the fins, the chrome, the swagger. But tucked beneath that legendary shape are 10 details most fans have never heard. From secret branding moves and crash program deadlines to factory mistakes worth tens of thousands of dollars, this countdown reveals the hidden side of one of America's most iconic cars. Let's start at number 10, with the surprising story behind the Impala name itself. In the 10th place, the Impala name itself set the stage for everything that followed. Long before the car hit the streets, Chevrolet's marketing team chose the name Impala to conjure images of speed and elegance, drawing from the African antelope's reputation for grace and agility. Early 1959 brochures leaned into this imagery, calling it the antelope of the road and using the silhouette as a symbol of premium status. This was not just a badge, it was a carefully crafted promise, positioning the Impala above the Bel Air and signaling a more aspirational Chevy. The mystique began as a branding move, shaping public perception before a single fin or tail light ever turned heads. Number 9. The 1959 Impala's radical shape didn't come from a slow, deliberate design process. It was the product of a high-stakes rush. In March 1957, Chevrolet's top brass scrapped their original plan for a mild update and demanded a totally new full-size model nearly overnight. That single decision slashed the timeline in half, forcing engineers and stylists to turn out a complete redesign in just 12 months instead of the usual 2 years. Assembly plants like Tarrytown and St. Louis worked overtime, retooling on the fly and improvising with temporary fabrication fixes just to keep up. The pressure behind the scenes was enormous, but the result was a car that looked and felt like nothing else on the road that year. Number 8. The legendary batwing rear end of the 1959 Impala was not just a wild flight of design fancy, it was the outcome of a real tug-of-war inside Chevrolet. Styling chief Bill Mitchell championed those sweeping horizontal fins, determined to make a bold break from the past and signal a new era for Chevy. But engineering, led by Harry Barr, raised alarm bells about cost, structure, and everyday practicality. The rear fenders, as dramatic as they looked, threatened to compromise the car's strength and to bump up production expenses. Instead of scrapping the look or starting over, the team landed on a compromise. They reinforced the rear frame and tweaked the mounting points rather than redesigning the whole back end. What rolled out of the factory was the result of heated debate and negotiation, a shape that is instantly recognizable today, not because it was easy, but because it was hard-won. The Impala's fins became a symbol of ambition meeting reality, and that hidden story makes them even more impressive. Number 7. The 1959 Impala's dramatic low-slung look owes everything to its tubular X-frame, a chassis design that literally reshaped the car's silhouette and the way it hugged the road. By replacing the traditional perimeter frame with this X-shaped backbone, Chevrolet engineers dropped the floor pan, widened the stance, and gave the Impala that unmistakable, sleek profile. But beneath the style, the X-frame came with a hidden cost. Internal safety reviews from March 1959 revealed that side impact protection was a real concern. One safety committee memo recorded 6 inches of intrusion at just 30 miles per hour, a figure that would make anyone think twice about what was sacrificed for that show-stopping stance. The X-frame made the Impala a visual standout, but it also sparked debate inside General Motors about how much structure could be traded for style. That engineering compromise remains one of the car's most fascinating secrets. Number 6. The 1959 Impala's reputation for style often overshadows just how wild things could get under the hood. Chevrolet did not lock buyers into a single engine choice. Instead, the same sweeping body could hide anything from a mild-mannered V8 to a genuine performance monster. The lineup included a 327 cubic inch V8, officially rated at 300 horsepower, but the real fun started when buyers checked off the right boxes on the order form. Performance-minded customers could opt for a dual quad intake or heavy-duty carburetor, with some upgrades installed right at the factory and others handled by the dealer before the car ever left the lot. Two Impalas, parked side by side with identical badges, might drive off with entirely different personalities. One a smooth cruiser, the other a street-bred powerhouse. This mechanical variety turned the 1959 Impala into a true chameleon, capable of surprising even seasoned car fans with what lurked beneath that long, sculpted hood. Number 5. The triple cat's eye taillights on the 1959 Impala weren't just a styling flourish, they were quietly re-engineered mid-year, right on the assembly line. Early production models left the factory with plain taillight housings, but a new federal regulation required brighter rear reflectors for safety. Chevrolet responded with Engineering Change Order 57-1958, introducing a polished aluminum reflector insert, officially listed as part number R571258. This subtle update transformed the look of the taillights, giving them a sharper, more luminous appearance without altering the iconic triple layout. The change happened so discreetly that many owners never noticed, and some early cars were even retrofitted at dealerships to comply with the new standard. Today, spotting the difference between an early and late 1959 Impala means looking for that telltale glint inside each taillight. It is a small but telling detail that reveals how even the most recognizable features were subject to behind-the-scenes evolution. Number 4. Some of the rarest 1959 Impalas do not reveal their secrets on the outside. They hide them in the upholstery and trim. A handful of cars left the Oakland plant with a plant-specific Biscayne interior package, coded B17 on the trim tag. This was not just a color swap. It meant teal-green velour upholstery, a two-tone seat back, and a wood grain dash panel, all details you would not find in the National Parts Catalog. Dealer order logs show just 14 requests for the Biscayne package in the spring of 1959, and factory records suggest only about 200 cars ever got it. For restorers and collectors, decoding the trim tag is essential. It is the only way to prove a car's originality when the interior looks so different from the standard fare. That hidden evidence can transform an ordinary-looking Impala into a genuine rarity, prized for details that most people never notice. Coming to the top 3, some of the rarest stories in the 1959 Impala world are written not by designers or engineers, but by the quirks of the assembly line itself. At the Oakland plant, a Baltimore blue roof option quietly slipped into production, a color you will not find in any national brochure, and one that graced fewer than 150 Impalas. For collectors, spotting that paint code on a trim tag is like unearthing buried treasure. But the surprises did not end with color. A documented badge stamping error led to a handful of Impalas and Bel Airs leaving the factory with the wrong quarter panel emblems. Quality control logs from August 1959 show that while some of these misstamped badges were caught and corrected, at least a few cars rolled out with the error intact. These factory oddities, born from production hiccups and low-volume choices, have turned surviving examples into genuine conversation pieces. Each one is a testament to how even a small slip on the factory floor can create a legend among enthusiasts. Number 2. The 1959 Impala's journey from police duty to low rider legend traces back to a factory option most people overlook. Chevrolet offered a police spec suspension package with stiffened front springs, heavy-duty shocks, and a reinforced rear axle, originally meant for high-speed pursuit and hard braking. Dealers could order it straight from the factory or install it locally, so the hardware found its way into more than just squad cars. The result? A chassis that sat lower, rode firmer, and handled extra weight without flinching. By the late 1960s, these underpinnings made the Impala a perfect canvas for the emerging lowrider scene, where builders needed a tough, low-slung foundation for hydraulic lifts and elaborate paintwork. A 1967 Lowrider magazine feature spotlighted one of the first documented 1959 Impala lowriders, already sporting custom suspension and a bold new attitude. The connection between police spec engineering and custom car culture is not just a footnote. It is the bridge that turned a workhorse into a rolling icon. And finally, in first place, the smallest factory clues can make or break a 1959 Impala's legacy and its price tag. Authenticity isn't about badges or stories. It is about the hard evidence stamped into metal and hidden under decades of paint. The real survivors carry a GMRX 59 frame imprint, a detail buried on the lower cross member that only shows up on original X frames from the factory. Matching bell housing and rear frame markings confirm the drivetrain is as it left the line. The factory parts cross-reference manual becomes a collector's Bible, separating true originals from clever clones. Auction records tell the story in dollars. A documented all-original Impala can fetch tens of thousands more than a look-alike with swapped parts. Every trim tag, casting number, and stamping is a piece of the puzzle. For anyone chasing the real thing, these hidden details are not just trivia, they are the difference between a legend and a replica. Across all 10 discoveries, one truth emerges. The 1959 Impala is more than a symbol, it is a blueprint of risk, creativity, and unexpected decisions. Even decades later, its hidden quirks and daring choices still shape car culture. That is what keeps true icons alive. Which detail surprised you most?